really is. Andrada?
I'm really happy that you mentioned, homeschooling, and the fact that you foresaw somehow the changes and everything. And you know I'm I wanted to ask you
Mhm.
something in relates to this. um Maybe it's a dumb question, maybe it's not, but
No such a thing.
I'm sure that there are a lot of people questioning, although not putting it out
Mhm.
to other people. But do you somehow believe that things will never be the same after all this? Because I get the feeling that it will not. What's
No, and
your
it's
opinion?
not meant to be. Actually, this occurred so that the shift could take place. And because there
Mhm.
were not enough, I want to say consciousness because we all are consciousness, but I'll just say individuals who were awake and aware to the changes and the progression that needed to be expanding.
Yeah.
I would say it needed to already have been occurring, but because people were not in tune to that, so now we have a situation that has now presented itself as a crisis, and also the way we shift our perspective about what is happening. It's not meant to go back to what was. This is about building the new and beginning to expand that. And it is difficult for people to make those adjustments and to start to adapt to
Mm.
this new normal. But chances are, because it's not going back, I mean, some aspects will return, but even when they return, it still will not be the same because there's now going to be this evolution because people are more awake, whether it's business owners, whether it's the government, all involved that impact our world in making decisions do understand that they now have to reposition how they have been going about the way they set up these structures for society. Those structures are crumbling, be it political, be it religious formats. There are parts of the old that can no longer be present with this new expansion. That's where individuals like myself and you and Rahila come in as the solution catalyst in this era in order to make sure that the expansion continues and that there isn't some fallback or drawback to the old, because actually the old has collapsed, but because people are not aware of this, and again, we've been in patterns and conditionings for so long, it does take some time. But with what has occurred, this is a shock to the system of humanity in a sense. And as that shock is taking place, what's happening is there are more people becoming awake and seeing the truth of these formats and structures
Mm.
were not going to be sustainable. And that's for those who have gotten out ahead of certain things. Like I said, even myself, not knowing that there was going to be a pandemic to occur, but just really following the impulses, if you will, of what's emerging. And so for me, that's been something to stay with. And I still presently stay with being grounded in the now, but also being very in tune to what's emerging without getting too far out in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said. I love the word impulse. It's so beautiful in the way you couch the entire conversation, if I may.